At the University of Buffalo, a pro-life student group held a rally in which they showed pictures of abortions, and they compared these images to images of the Holocaust and other mass killings. Now, one professor, Laura Curry, was so offended and disturbed by these images that she got so bent out of shape that she had to be arrested. Do you see the irony here? The irony is that this pro-choice professor sees the horror of abortion, becomes so disturbed that she can no longer control her behavior and has to be arrested. I think she got the message. To me, this is why things such as the Gosnell Murder Trial are so important for the pro-life movement, because they expose the horror that is abortion. When we hear stories such as 47 fetuses stacked in a freezer and discarded as if they were medical waste, there's something that disturbs us. I think even pro-choice people are bothered by this. Now, I know that they've come back with the argument that says something to the effect that if we outlaw abortion, you're going to have more clinics such as Gosnell's with these horrific conditions. I think they've got a valid point there. However, I think the disturbing thing in the Gosnell murder trial isn't so much the conditions of the clinic, but the reality of the abortions themselves. When we hear about mass graves of aborted bodies, fetuses if you want to call them that, fine, but human bodies, it brings back images such as those of the Holocaust, where human life was just discarded and bodies treated as if they were trash. When we hear stories about clinical workers who have babies live born in their hands that they're playing with and then handing them over to have their spinal cord snapped and so the babies would be killed, there's something that disturbs us. We say, how heartless, how cold have we become? And it's not so much an issue of should we allow this to happen as it becomes how did we allow this to happen, and we can't allow this to continue. You see, I compare this to what was done by Christ at the resurrection. And let me explain what I'm talking about here. When Christ came to his apostles, he didn't hide the reality of their sin. He showed them his wounds. He showed them the scars, the relics of human sin. And then he says to them, "Peace be with you." See, I think this becomes the model for the pro-life movement when we're talking about the issue of abortion. I think we need to expose the horror of abortion, to show those wounds, if you will, but to do so not to create a shock value, not to condemn people, but to help people to see the horror of the reality of sin, to see that reality and then say, I want to be converted from that reality. I need to be called into a peaceful existence. I need to be called into harmony with Jesus Christ, who is the truth, the way, and the life. And Jesus came so that we may have life and have it to its fullest. I think that's the message that we need to bring forth out of things like the Gosnell murder trial. And so I think it becomes an important tool for the pro-life movement to help promote the dignity of all people, the women who are pregnant and the babies that are in their womb.